Thanks for joining today. It's a pleasure that you are participating here today on this session to talk about this bot as a template, or my KazBot, as I call you. Today, the idea is discuss how we can use this open source project, how you can obtain more information, how you can use and have a more open discussion about bots, AI, and several other technology. I will go through some slides and I will explain a little how you can install, how you can use, but appear that will take a little time to go forward in all the steps. For that reason, I am saying this is the first part. We will schedule soon a second part to continue with all the configuration. I am sharing on the chat some links that can be very helpful for me. Please take the time to complete the survey, join to the distribution list if you want to be aware about new webinars and new topics. And let's go today with this new webinar about bots. On the agenda, the first thing that we have is why. Why I work on that, why I did that, why, several whys. Then how you can connect to the GitHub repo, get the KazBot and implement in your organization. A little about the architecture, about permissions, about connections, about the design, and first of all, our demo that will take more time. Please let me know if you have any problem with the audio or the screen. I am checking all of that. Okay, why? When I was thinking about my daily work related to Purview, Defender, Identity, and several other technologies, if you are participating previously on my webinars, you know that normally I work with a lot with Microsoft in general, more with Purview, but I have knowledge in several technologies. And happens today that we have several consoles. We need to go through several different pages to access to different information. In some cases, we use a PIM to access, and we need to wait until someone approves our role to access. And more consoles, more screen, more browsers. And I was thinking how we can simplify that. And in that order of idea, I start building this bot that permit to have modules that can be load a hot load. And that is, the idea is in this project, permit to get all that capability and insert those capabilities on Teams. Almost all the time, all of us, we are using Teams. And why implement a new application, a new browser, if we can easily chat on Teams to ask about groups, to ask about report, to ask about configurations, and several other things. For that reason, the first thing is go to the GitHub project. I put the link on the chat, where you can find all the code, all the stuff that we will use. The advantage from this architecture, and when I was working on this solution, I was thinking that at the beginning, every time that I need to create a new model, I need to restart the bot, start the bot again, and doing several things. For that reason, when I was development all of this, I thought in a kind of baseline, in a kind of framework that permit me to, like a legal, start adding models in a hot way, in a hot plug. That permit me easily start adding several models to connect to Microsoft Entra, to connect to Purview, to connect to report, to connect several things using different APIs. And the most important point, all of this is a storage, is record in a storage account that permits us as a user go back in a previous session, export the data, and maybe as an administrator have the capability to audit all the actions that the end users are doing with this bot. Other thing that is important is because you're using Microsoft Teams, you validate your credentials, your identity, and that avoid to start getting more permissions, more access, and other normally big deals that we are happens in our daily work. As I mentioned several times, I built this one, and I will do some simple exercise how we can load these models in an easy way and start adding more models, each model with their own permissions and more. And as always, my main concern is go through a demo. In that order of idea, I have a complete new machine. I just installed this machine to work today. That means we will see to implement this bot, at least at the beginning, is very simple, and you don't need to do several things. Okay, let's go. The first thing that we need is go to the GitHub repo. Here on the GitHub repo, you have all the steps, and I will follow all the steps that are located on this page. We will see all the components that we need. Here we have the bot, and let me download the bot. I am downloading right from the GitHub page. I will go to C, and I will create a new folder. And I will copy all the files here. That is the first step, have all the components. But let's go to the next steps. We need to install Node. Let me go back and open in a new tab. Please feel free to ask on the chat any questions or comments. I'm installing this one. Okay, I am installed that one. I will need today we will work using a bot emulator in the local machine. In the second part that I need to schedule yet, I will explain how you can build the rest of layers used by the bot. The other thing that we need is, and for that reason, we will use this framework, bot framework emulator. Let me open. I just put the links again on the chat. GitHub releases, and let's the Windows one. We will need Visual Studio Code or Notepad++. I will use Notepad++ for this case. Let me download the installer. Here is install Node. We will install Notepad++. As you are seeing, I am doing all from scratch. This is very important because I am following the same instructions that I share on GitHub, and the idea is validate that works perfectly. Okay, I have my Notepad++. Is still installing some stuff related to Node. I need to install the bot. Let me go to the bot. Here on download, I will install the bot. Let's see what we need additionally. Okay, we have the bot, we have the Visual Studio Code, or in this case, Notepad++. To work here, we will need an Azure subscription. With the Azure subscription, we are able to configure our bot and all the components that we need. For that same reason, I will start accessing with my account here. Let me access. Sorry. livedemos.com. Okay. And the MFA. I don't know if any of you want to share your experience with AIs, with bot, and if you're working previously with any kind of bot or testing. In this case, I want to help to you to go through all the steps required to use in an easy way this bot. Okay, I believe that we are okay with all the components. And let's go to the next step. The next step is create an app registration. To use our bot, in the backend, we need to application registration, something that normally we call service principal. We need to go to the Azure portal. We need to go to Microsoft Entra. Here under Manage, App Registration, New Registration. All of this is here on the configuration. Okay. My first bot. And something that we need to take care is we need to use this one at least at the beginning. Here in the application, we will use redirect URI, web, and we will use this URL. And let's go to register. Some values that we need to have, and I will explain all of that. We will need the application ID. We will need the tenant ID in different steps. And something that we will need to set as well is our certificates and secret. Take care on this part because the first thing is with the application ID, with the tenant ID, and the client secret, anyone can connect to your tenant. For that reason, take care with whom you are sharing this key. Another thing to have in mind, this value, this is the secret, this value will be hid after we go out from this interface, and no matter what, you will not be able to catch this value again. Worst case, you will need to create a new secret key. Another thing that's coming soon, and I hope to release in a new bot, is use all through certificate. But today we are using the client secret. Let's view the steps. We need to register a new app. We need to get the Microsoft App ID, the client secret, the tenant ID that we will need later. And here is how you can create the client secret. And we will need to go here to the API permissions and grant this permission that is set by default. To grant admin consent, you need to be a global administrator, at least on your Microsoft Entra, in your tenant. Happens that you don't need Microsoft 365 to create this bot. You need to use Azure, but if you have Azure, you need to go to Microsoft Entra and you can have a global administrator account for that Azure. Okay, this is the minimal configurations that we need to start configuring our bot. But what we need to do is, in the new folder, we have this .env file. This one will have all our configuration. Okay, we need to the application ID. Let me copy here, application ID. We need the password. Okay, we have the first two elements in our environment that we need. And let's continue with the rest of the steps. Okay, we are okay with all of this. Let's continue with OpenAI. In this case, I am using OpenAI in the backend to run the bot that uses the same capabilities that you can find on ChatGPT. Let's go to Azure. This one say that I need to look in for Azure OpenAI, create resource, Azure OpenAI. And here we can find our OpenAI. We need to set a subscription. we need to set the resource group, region, the name for your bot, and the pricing tier. Standard S0 is almost free. You can see here all the prices. We will try to use all the tiers that are less expensive, at least for this test. Go next, all networks, no tags, create. This is very quick. Now, after this one will be created, we need to deploy the model. Let me copy this link. Okay, the deployment is complete. This is the interface for OpenAI. Here you need to take care. You can see different services. I need to select the right one. This is the right one, my first KazBot. And here under deployment, I will deploy a model. You can see that GPT-5 is available right now. There is several of them. For this exercise, I will use GPT 4.1. But you are able to, let me, all resource, I want to deploy it on my first KazBot. Okay, I don't know why. Is playing with me. Maybe it's because I just created this one. Let me go here again, GPT 4.1. I want to deploy on my first KazBot. Okay. Deploy selected resource. Let me go very quick. This one will be created here, but we will go back to my first KazBot that was created as a service. And here I will go again to select GPT 4.1. And I don't know why. Let's back in a while. Let's back in a while. I don't know why. Okay. Let's cancel for a moment. We will continue soon in these steps. Appear that is because I just deployed the OpenAI. We will back later, but nevertheless, if you change, thanks for that comment on the chat. No matter when you select the model, you need to take care in this .env file, that is for the environment, to set the right deployment. If you want to test with Mini, if you want to test with GPT-5 or any other, you need to take care and come in here and set the right one. Okay, we need to select some values. we will have this one pending for the moment. I will open a new tab because that is pending. And the other thing is set a blob storage. By default, if you use the bot without an storage, the memory is very small and only some few command will be stored on memory. But if we need to create persistent connections, if we want to give to the users to connect to a previous session and going back on the command previously used, the recommendation is set this Azure blob storage. For that, we will go back to Azure. We will looking for a storage account. Create a storage account. All of this is here on the documentation. I will set on the same resource group my bot storage account. I cannot use my bot storage account. Okay, it's taken. We will use all by default. We will use blob storage. Standard. I don't need to have redundancy. Nevertheless, oh, I really appreciate that comment on the chat. I am using for this exercise only the small tiers, the minimal cost. Nevertheless, if you like this solution and my invite is to start working on this to create your own models, this will be very helpful. And then you can change to other tiers that permit to have more transactions per minute. In this case, take care in these steps because I am using the cheapest tiers in this exercise because I am playing only with a few configurations. Another thing that can be useful to understand how the data is stored in the storage account is using the Azure Storage Explorer application. Let me copy this one here on the chat. You can use that one to start accessing to your storage account and see the components. Okay, the bot is running. We have all the components. Let's go and install. Okay, the storage account was created. After I access to the storage account, please be careful with all the steps. We need the blob connection string. We need the blob container name. What we will do is come in here, data storage, containers, and we will create a new container, my bot memory. Okay, what we need to complete here is the blob connection string and the blob container name. Okay, this is the name. This is the name. And the string, and take care on that here on security, access keys. You have the key, but here you have the connection string. The connection string contains several things, the URL, contain the key and other values. Someone is asking on the chat if we can set another kind of storage and other cloud. Yes, you can do that, but all the code that I'm sharing is a thought related to this storage account. Nevertheless, I was trying to have a very clear code, and you are able to change this one to storage the data in another service, maybe in Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Services. On my case, all the code is related to work with Azure. Nevertheless, you can go through all the the code and make the little changes that you need. Okay, here is the string. You can see that the string contains several things, including the key. Okay, we are okay with this one. Let me see if I'm able to make the deploy again for the model. Okay, my first KazBot, I need to go to deployment. I need to deploy the model. Let me select GPT 4.1, confirm. Okay, now is right. You can see that now is doesn't appear in that another location. Appears that was only some timing related to deploy this one. You can see that in general, all the steps are very simple. After deploy this one and test some little things, I will try to go through the code, explain the different components and why all this structure. Something that I try to do is split all the bot in different components. That simplify a lot the way to manage the different configurations. Here you can see almost all the commands that we can use, configurations that we need to use. The middleware will be used for something that I was thinking, and in the second part, we need to schedule that one, is today we will run all locally, but we need to move this one to another middleware. On my case, I will use web apps. Nevertheless, the middleware can be changed to use maybe something on Amazon or on Google. Remember that I'm using JSON here, and that permits to change the configuration to any place. Here we will see that there is several components. This component happens again because I was trying to split the most possible this bot to simplify how you can change and manage the configuration. Okay, this is ready. And what I need from here, okay, I need to, this is the previous one that I was playing, but here on deployment, you can see that I have the GPT. Let me, my first KazBot. Okay, for some reason is playing with me. Let me try once again. Let me try once again. I don't know why. Resource. confirm. This is global, customize. The resource is my first KazBot. No, my first KazBot. That one. Okay. Sorry for that. Let me refresh and see if something is not working fine here. Only to show, here you can see in a previous one that I was testing, it's appearing GPT 4.1 in this one, and inclusive in another one that I was testing previously. You can see the deploy. But okay, let's continue on this one. My first KazBot deployment. I don't know why it's not getting. It's not me, it's the interface. Okay, appear that is something with the quota. Okay, maybe that is the big deal. Let me, in that case, I will use this one. It's the same configuration. It's the same configuration, but appear that I have only one quota to use the GPT-4.1. But it's the same the same one. Okay, I will set the OpenAI endpoint here and the OpenAI key that is here. Okay, someone is asking. No, the big deal that I'm viewing here and why I'm backing back to this previous one is because was appearing very quick, but at the moment to make the deploy, show me that I am over my quota. Happens that I am using an MSDN subscription for this exercise. The MSDN subscription is very restricted in the way that you can use the different technologies, and for that reason is show me that error very quick here on the middle. That was the big deal, was show me some issue related to to the quota, and appear that is the big deal why it's not generating the right deployed. But yesterday I was creating this one, and this one is the same configuration. I deploy the same model, GPT 4.1. You can see the state is success. And here, the information that I need for this one is, is this target URI. You can see that have the same name that we set previously, plus the key. I added these two values, Azure OpenAI endpoint and Azure OpenAI key. I added both, and the deployment is GPT 4.1. Okay. Next step. Is create the integration with the Teams and the authentication with Microsoft Entra. I will explain these steps. Nevertheless, for the rest of exercise, we will not use this one yet. I am trying to generate that need for the second part. I will schedule for September. You can follow me on LinkedIn, or you can add your email to the distribution list that here in the chat. And in the second part, I will explain how we can build and join the bot on Teams, how we can make that available for any user, and we will work with the middleware. But let's continue with this one to explain. To start with the initial steps for the bot services for Teams, we need to go to the Azure portal. Let's go back to this one. We need to create a resource and looking for Azure bot. That is in the marketplace. This is important, at least for me, happens a lot that normally I use the search resource here at the top, but several of these services doesn't appear because are part of the marketplace. For that reason, the recommendation is always go through create a resource to find these services. Okay, let's say here, I need to unique name, I need a subscription, I need to some additional values. Okay, let's go through all of that. My first KazBot, I will use my resource group, global. Here, you can see that by default is selected the standard that you can generate 1,000 messages per unit. But for this one, I will use this tier that is free. If you want to play with KazBot, there is several tiers that are very cheapest or free. You can use that to start testing. Now, to access, we need to use an existing app registration. For that reason, in the first part, when we create the app registration, we use this one, application ID, and the tenant ID. We need something additional? No, tags. We can review and create. Having this one, and here are all the steps, we need to view the deployment and the channels to enable Microsoft Teams and the OAuth authentication. Again, we will skip this. I will show you. You can follow the steps. Nevertheless, for this little exercise, we will not use that. Okay, let's come in here. Sorry, is that little, for the ones that was presenting, is that little banner that appear when you are sharing, and sometimes you try to select the tab and it's not working properly. Okay, I am in my Azure bot, my first KazBot. I will go here to settings, channels, and here another thing that is very interesting. You can connect with several other services. On my case, I want to work with Teams, but you can enable this bot to work with Facebook, with Line, with Microsoft 365, inclusive with Alexa. For this case, I want to use only Teams and apply. And the other steps that is shown here on the documentation is the OAuth authentication. The OAuth authentication is this one and is used to validate that you are able to connect through Microsoft Teams using Microsoft Entra. In this case, today is called, we need to use HR Directory B2, my KazBot authentication. This name, I will need this name here. I will need this name here. Client ID. Client secret. No worries. If you are taking note about my secret after this section, I will delete the secrets. Tenant ID. Don't try to use after this session. And the big deal is here in the documentation. We need to set these specific scopes. And save. Validating, and now I have the OAuth authentication. If I go back to channels, I will see that Microsoft Teams is connected and healthy. Ta-da! Okay, it's almost done. And run and test locally. The first thing that we need to do is install all the required modules. Happens that all the script with the bot needs some additional components. In that case, let me open the command prompt. We need to go to the KazBot, npm install, and this one will take a little time. You need to take care in this point and see which other thing that we need. Here, please take care in this point, because we will use the framework emulator. We will use this bot. Okay, no, that is the storage account. We will use the bot that is here, because we will use local configuration. Only for this case, in the .env, we will set this one empty. That is my current configuration. This is the Storage Explorer. I was explaining this one to validate how the data is stored. All the prompts, all the queries are stored in your storage account. Meanwhile, here in the backend is okay, was very quick. Let me connect. Signing with Azure. Next. I'm using the same account. Okay, appears that we have all the components. Here I have the storage account. We use this one, my bot storage account, blob container, my bot memory, and this one for the moment is empty. Okay, okay, here is done. And what's I here is to start testing all of this, we need to execute this command. Okay, let's try node server. It is okay? Yes. My bot is running. And what I need to do to connect is here, open bot, paste the URL, and connect. And now the bot is running. There is I add several different capabilities. You can see here, list memory. I can use the lifecycle management for the different component for the different services. Section memory. Okay, I can say, tell me. Okay, something. Okay, let me. Let's see if we have some issue. Okay, here we have something. Appears that maybe it's because I was not using the initial one. Let me validate here. The server is running in the debugging mode that permit to obtain what is happening in the backend. But no worries, no worries. That is related to the previous deploy, because I was not using the right one. But previously, today, I was doing the same, and I have the bot here. You can see that I have the file with the same configuration and inclusive. That is the beta demo openai.azure.com, the same one that we was working right now. Let me close the bot and open the bot again. If you have any problem deploying the bot, feel free to reach me right now. It's the same configuration. The big deal was the deploy. But you can see here that I have the same configuration, or let me see, maybe it's a problem in the service. Tell me a joke. Okay, it's working. And here coming the most important point. In the Microsoft Teams, in the GitHub, I have some components that you can use. Well, that is the component, and here the integration models. You can see a model, how the models works. I have one here for Microsoft 365. And I released one for Microsoft Entra and for the Microsoft 365 report. These are the hot plug models that I was explaining at the beginning, at the advantage that have this one. By default, you will see that the services folder is empty. In your environment, the services folder is empty. If it's empty, and I try to get the list of available models, I will see that I don't have any model available. Here I can come in here. There is all the configuration. And if I use this one, I will see that no models are loaded. That means I don't have any model on my environment. But it's simple. I can download the models. I can download the models. Give me a moment. That I'm going to the right folder where I have the models. And as an example, I will copy these two. I will show you, but each of these modules have their own structure, their own components, and their own permissions. You can see here that I have a client ID, a client secret, and a tenant ID for this specific requirement. What's happened? This is very important. I can create hot models to add in this spot connected to other tenants. If I am giving managed services to other organizations, as an example, I can create my models to easily access to that information without start accessing to different portals, requesting other permissions. I can create a specific model to obtain, identify different information. And here is the big deal. If I run the same command again, now you can see that it showed me the new models that was added here on services, the Microsoft Entra one and the Microsoft 365 report. And here show me how I can init, how I can start this model. But first of things, I want to explain this one very easily. I create this one to work only with groups. But what's happened if I don't init the specific service and I ask, as an example, to the bot about groups? Let's see what OpenAI answer about groups. The bot answer me about anything about groups. But what's happened if now I start, I can start, I can stop, I can restart, I can reload, and I will use the same prompt. What's happened now? In this case, the service is capable to identify that now is connected to an API, and the query is redirect to the API and see if we can have other answer. And you can see, tell me about group, and now is answer me about Microsoft Entra, and tell me that we have 170 groups in total, split in these group types, with some memberships overview, some of samples, and it's not the same answer. It's not the same answer because now I am connected to Microsoft Entra. Some capabilities is we can export the answers. We can export all the memory. We can export the prompts. If I use this one, KazBot, export sessions answers, I added a comma at the end. Now I am able to download a markdown file that contain, let me copy, here is, that contain only the answers related to the session. But inclusive with that one, if I want to get all, here at the top, you have all the comments available. I can list all the memory. I can list all the prompts. I can list all the answers, or only certain, or I can clear the answers, or I can show the analytics. Let me see the answer here. Here is all the answers. The first about groups and all the prompts that I was doing previously. But if I want to get only the information related to the session, I can use, as an example, I will use this one, show sessions analytics. All related to Microsoft Entra. What can I do is close the model. I will close the module Microsoft Entra. That is the first one that enable. You can see here. I can write, if this version is the right one, I can use lower cases or upper cases. Now the module is closed. And if I ask again about groups, let's see what's happened. If I ask again, tell me about group, I will use the same prompt. And now we are going back to talk with the bot as same as a ChatGPT or as a Copilot or Gemini. The advantage of this framework and why I was doing all of this, because the only thing that I need to do is start creating new models to ask on Microsoft Entra, to ask on Microsoft Defender, to ask on Microsoft Purview, or inclusive. Again, this is because I work all the day with Microsoft. But you can expand this one. I don't know, if you have a console to manage print information, you can create a model to request that information to a print service. Or I don't know, if you are using virtual machines, I want to know how many virtual machines was used today. And I can create the specific model and start using this LLM, this natural language, to ask about that. I can use the bot for my daily work to talk, to request a joke or something. But if I initiate the specific model that I need and I have the right permissions, I am able to get several different information. For that reason, I believe this KazBot or this bot as a template is very helpful joining this bot with Teams, because as I'm working here, I will be able through Teams to request through chat, okay, I want to know about groups. I want to know about how many licenses that I have enabled. I need to know how many incident I was having the past week. And then if I start enable all the different modules, I am start able to cross the data. And how works this one? Tell me about groups and show me this one. And then I use the same prompt, but show me other information. Happens that something that I build on each module, and here let me give to you a very interesting point. I am creating the new modules using ChatGPT. The only thing that you need to take is take this one, I published on GitHub, and ask to Copilot to create a new service module to manage something. And ChatGPT will be able to read all of this and understand how the new model can be created. But something that is very important in this structure is this one. Let me open with Notepad++. These main module topics is a list of special words that end users can use. And if any of the words that in the natural language the end user is asking, if any of those words match with this list of topics, the bot is forced to go to the API first and then go to the LLM. If I am using a word that is not listed here, it's common that the bot will go to internet to ask about groups, about users, about printers. But if in the model that I create, I set some specific words related to normally to the topic, I will force to the bot, first of all, to validate the API, the connection, and if it's able to get information from the API first, and then go to internet to get all the data. All the MDs are related to the information that is shown here, how you can use the model. Well, that is a good question. Right now, the models that I am adding are very simple to read, but I'm able to write. I can do anything that the API permit me. In that case, so Amit is asking about how can help us as an administrator. I want to know which license will be um, expire soon, which users have some specific license, or how many users have, I don't know, Power BI Premium assigned, or create a user, remove a user, delete a user. That will be related only to the different models that can be created. The other thing is, okay, how differ with Copilot? Copilot in general is reduced. Not all the people have the right license on Copilot. The Copilot license is expensive, but this one, something that happened. Maybe the Copilot license is assigned to your user, but not to your admin users. With the bot, you are able to do the same activities and more, and you are eyeing which user, yeah, is something that we can ask. If we build, this is very important. KazBot is a kind of baseline. It's a kind of template where you can start building different kind of services, hot model plug that you can add. Depend of the permissions on the API, and Microsoft is expanding week after week with more capabilities through the APIs. The same thing that we can do through the APIs, we can get that capabilities and create a model to start doing the same through a bot. I have teams. As an example, that is a good point. You can install Teams in your phone. If you are able to import the bot, you can do several things from your phone without need to connect to PowerShell in a Windows machine, or maybe if you are a Mac user, enabling virtual machines to run a PowerShell command, because you are able to run several different capabilities through the different API permissions. Another thing I was telling to you is not related to users that are not logged, but something that is very annoying is in Activity Explorer, you can get only the last 30 days of data. If you need more than 30 days, you need an inclusive Activity Explorer only show end users activities. If you need to go more in deep, you need to go to Defender, Advanced Hunting, and understand very well how you can create a KQL query to obtain data. Something that I am not released yet, but another thing why I was creating this bot, because I can create, I can use, I need for advanced hunting to ask for the latest logged users. With this one, I am able to request to the bot create the LLM, using LLM, create the query that I need, and having a model connected to Defender, I am able to run these kind of queries directly on Defender using my teams without need to go to Defender, enable my permissions, request someone to approve my access, plus try to create the right query. I can use the capabilities from the AI to create the queries, plus I am able to run these queries from the same bot. I use a lot ChatGPT, but I need to run some prompts on ChatGPT and then go to Defender and start testing. But if I am able easily from one interface on Microsoft Teams to create the query that I need, plus execute the query directly on the service, that will be very helpful. Here, with this one, something that I am trying to leverage is a lot of capabilities that are open, and you don't need, this is the big deal, start from scratch. With KazBot, you have the baseline, you have the base that you need to start building some specific models to work with your data. And the advantage of all of this is record. And we are able to follow that information, or inclusive. As an administrator, that is maybe is a next model. I can create a model to read all the information that is stored in the storage account to ask for the prompt users for different users. Because here, all the information is stored. This permits me easily to identify what is happening, for what the users are using the bot, and more. Any question, comment related to this? Makes sense? All of this information, this framework that permitted to you to easily build some hot model plugs, models that you can plug in without restart the service. When I was working with this one, was taking me a lot of time, because every time that I was adding a new configuration, changing a new permissions, adding a new API, was required to come in and restart the service. But now I don't need to restart the service. The only thing that I need to do is stop the model, start the model, or reload the model with the changes. And with that, I'm able to start running different changes in an easy way. Questions, comments that you want to share right now? Unfortunately, today we are not having too many people participating, but the invite is open. I hope that you can enjoy this solution and start testing. You can, the solution is open source. You can connect to GitHub and you can start helping in this project as well. If you have other ideas, you can reach me and we can discuss how we can build all of that. The big deal, and for the last point here to show as an example, for the Microsoft Entra one, for the report, I have different APIs. This is important because with this way of solution, we are able to create different models, and each model with their own service principal. We can create a very big service principal with a lot of permissions, or we can create a specific service principal for each model with the specific permissions to avoid to have something that have several permissions. Okay, let me, I believe that was not in the, give me one moment and I will share my contact on LinkedIn. Okay, that is my contact. You can contact me, you can follow me, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And in the same list that I shared at the beginning, there is a distribution list where you can add your email and you will be able to know when will be the new date for the rest of webinars. If you don't have any other questions or comment, appear that today we are finishing early, but I hope that you are able to enjoy this solution, how the bot works, and be aware for the next date, because in the next date, in the next webinar, I will explain how we can take this one that is running locally to run on a middleware on Azure, plus the last steps that we need to take this bot and run that bot on Teams. That is all for today. Thanks for joining. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and we keep in touch. Have a good one.